this woman, she told me I was the first man who ever told her no in her life.
I love hearing that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were the things, just so the audience could learn, what were the things that you noticed that you had to say no a lot to when dealing with an attractive woman? Because I've always told guys on this podcast that like 9s and 10s a lot of the times come with headaches that a lot of guys are not prepared to deal with.
Yeah.
And one of them is being able to say no, even when you might not want to say no, because you need to be able to let her know who the boss is. What would you say are some of the common things that guys have to deal with when they're dealing with very attractive women and the power of saying no?
Well, in my personal experience, it's this strange expectation that she is, she can access my attention whenever she wants.
Okay.
Is that sometimes I am working, sometimes I'm working out, sometimes I'm with my friends. But the idea that I am going to respond at a moment's notice whenever she needs anything, whenever she reaches out. I generally don't text throughout the day. That's just a rule that I have.
Yeah.
I will text in the evenings, and I just use the phone generally for making logistics.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
it's better.
Well, this is an oversimplification, but attention is for women what sex is for men.
Facts.
And when men are giving their attention without their presence, without the opportunity for the sexual encounter, they're basically like getting screwed without being bought a drink.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the equivalent from
Absolutely.
the male's perspective. Also, if she can get that attention hit from the phone, you've made the interaction to see you just redundant and unnecessary.
Yep. That's why texting girls all day before a date, and she's
Terrible
like, "Oh,
idea.
well, you know, my cat died," which is a reasonable response. But sometimes it's just like, "Come on, you know you were gonna come on a date, but because you lost interest, you're like,
yeah,
I got better things that I could do."
Yeah, absolutely.
This woman tested a lot. I remember one time we got into
the attractive Brazilian girl.
Yeah, we got into a disagreement, and she got on like this really fancy like club outfit, and was like, "Well, I'm just going to go out." And I was like, "All right." And she was like,
"You're not
"What?
going to stop me?
You're not exactly."
Oh,
She's
my
like, "You're not going to
goodness.
stop me." He's like, "No,
Go ahead, have fun."
have fun." And she was scratching her head, and she took the clothes off and stayed at home.
Nice.
It didn't work. I mean, she was clearly trying to trigger some sort of jealousy or anger reaction. So that's also something that you have to deal with.
Did you like kind of imply it that like if you go through your actions, right? We talked about the power of body language earlier. Did you kind of imply that like, no, I'm not angry, but if you go, there's going to be consequences? Was that like an implied thing, which is why she went in and changed immediately?
No, not in the moment, because with these types of things, with respect to like boundary settings with relationships, I call them 30-second conversations. Let me explain how to do this. So let's say on a very basic one, you have a boundary around infidelity.
Okay.
This is how you have a 30-second conversation with a woman. You say, "Hey, I just want you to know that if you ever do cheat on me, I will find out eventually. And when I do, it will be the end of our relationship."
Boom, done.
Do you understand? Yes. Great. We never have to talk about this again.
Yeah.
I don't have to believe that she's going to be faithful. She just has to believe that I'm going to do what I say.
Yes.
She just has to believe that I'm going to implement the consequence as previously discussed. And I never have to bring that up again. She understands there's a consent. Boom, let's go about our business.
Okay. Do you give that to her after you guys are officially in a relationship, or when you guys are talking? What stage do you drop that on them?
With that, it's generally deeper into the relationship when
Okay.
there's an expectation for that kind of behavior.
Gotcha. Do you because I've always said that cheating, right, can be very
I mean, many different things.
and many different things. And I would argue, and I'd love to get your take on this, I would argue the threshold for cheating for women is much greater than for men. For example,
What do you mean?
I think, right, a girl advertising herself on the internet, putting herself in situations that might allow men to court her, etc., that could be constituted as cheating, especially if you're not present. You gave the example with going to the club in a sexy outfit. I would consider that as cheating. Some people might not agree with me on that or whatever, but I think since it's easier for women to get sex, I would argue as a byproduct of them being able to get sex quickly, they also can cheat just as easily since the threshold to break is so simple for them. But I mean, I don't know, you might have different boundaries on it. That's my take on it.
Well,
but
different people
yeah,
have different
of
boundaries,
course.
right? And what one way that I thought about this, because actually in this relationship, there was a lot of jealousy coming from her,
Okay.
where I would interact with women.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, guys will just sleep with anything. And I was like, I need you to trust me. Like, I can engage with a woman without doing anything I said I'm not going to do. So
you guys were monogamous?
yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And so in that situation, I felt more controlled and mistrusted inappropriately. And that became a problem for that relationship.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to be trusted by the woman, that I can talk to other women without doing anything inappropriate. And I'm going to extend that same trust to the women that I'm dating. But that's just me. Other people have different thresholds.
Mhm.
What I do seem to see is that cheating means different things to different people. Like in that relationship, I heard the word emotional cheating for the first time. I had never heard of what emotional cheating was before. But I've since discovered that, again, this is going to be an overgeneralization, but men care more about a woman's sexual fidelity and women care more about a man's emotional fidelity.
Yeah, for sure. Agreed.
And a lot of women, especially if they're with a high value man, are willing to consider an open relationship, even if it's an asymmetrical open relationship, where the man will sleep with other women, but the women will remain monogamous to that one man, so long as she feels that she is the most special woman in his life.
Yep.
Priority.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The idea about emotional cheating is that the woman is afraid that if a man becomes emotionally involved with somebody else,
He's gonna leave.
yeah, and then the resources go elsewhere.
Right.
It makes sense. It does happen.
Yeah. Absolutely.
See, I love how you handled that situation with your girl by just saying, "Go ahead, you can go." But you spoke to her without having to speak to her. If that makes sense. Just by your response, she got it and she stayed home. That's brilliant.
Question for you, Doc.
Yeah.
If she had gone, what would have you done? If she had gone?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what I would do in that case. But what I would say is if a woman has violated one of our understandings, then I just implement the consequence that I discussed previously. And that would
Okay.
be it. I don't have to get angry.
Would that have constituted as cheating for you personally? I mean, every guy has different boundaries.
If a woman just went out to a club,
The way she was dressed in
No.
that instance, do you think that would that constitute cheating in your eyes?
for me, no.
No, it wouldn't have.
But
Okay.
I have different thresholds than you, and that's
Okay,
fine.
okay, all right. You're okay. Yeah, I'm a lot more restrictive with females, and I think a byproduct. The reason why, right, is because I look at it that since women have, and I'd love to open this as a general discussion because I a lot of people say, Myron, you have crazy boundaries, you're really restrictive, etc. And my reasoning for that is that since women have an abundance of options, the sexual marketplace is completely open to them. They can literally get a guy anytime they want. I think with unlimited access, you need to go ahead and match that level of unlimited access that they have and limit it significantly to a certain degree, because you have to almost overcompensate for the options she has. And what my thing is to deal with the current sexual marketplace in today's day and age, where I don't have the I don't have the social constructs of shame, family, religion, etc. We live in a deregulated sexual marketplace. Now I have to regulate the sexual marketplace for her as the leader, as the man in this relationship. So I look at it like, since now I'm solely responsible for regulating the sexual marketplace because ain't nobody else going to regulate it thanks to feminism, I put these boundaries in place to the point where I can mitigate the most risk. I know some guys can go ahead and accept a little bit more risk than others. But for me, I look at it like we live in an era and a time where women are incentivized to be hoes, and I need to do what I need to do and let her know that you can behave that way, but understand that I am not going to be here if you go ahead and participate in certain avenues that might put you in a situation that might hurt this relationship. You have unlimited access. I need to limit it. That's my job to a degree. Not limit it overtly, like you can't do this, but limit it through my reaction to what you do with your unlimited access. If that makes sense.
Well, yeah, that does make a lot of sense. I think you're talking about boundaries, and everyone
Yeah.
can have boundaries in their relationships.
Of course.
And I think that's one way to do it. Another way to counter women's greater optionality in the sexual marketplace is, of course, to increase your own optionality in the marketplace. That's like the Cold War. You know, you got your nukes, I got my nukes. And so it creates a kind of a détente between the two people.
Yeah. I take her nukes away, and I just keep mine.
Well, you can try to do that, but
I'm the U.S. I'm taking everyone's nukes.
This was a behavior that was not very characteristic of this woman. She wasn't somebody who would go out to clubs. She was angry at me in that moment, and she was trying to provoke an emotional reaction.
So context matters in this situation. Okay.
It's like if you have a problem with a woman going to clubs, that's fine. but you probably shouldn't try to date a woman who goes to clubs every weekend.
Yeah, agreed. Yep.
Then you're just getting into battles of control, and that's not what I think relationships are for.
Yeah.
That's neither one is really thriving if you have to always be her parole officer and she
Yeah.
always has to be your, person on parole, your
Yeah.
parolee.
Yeah, I always say you never tell them they can't do something. You just tell them if you do that, there's consequences. This is what I
Sure.
will not commit. This is what I will not tolerate. or
Everything
I will
has
not commit.
consequences.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's my thing. I'll never tell her you can't do that. I'll just be like, okay, just understand that you're going to be single if you do some of these behaviors. And I tell them this on the onset kind of, but
I'm a bit more
Sorry.
relaxed in my approach just because, like, I can't control anybody or their actions. I just think that as a man, I got stuff going on. I got things I got to do. And to focus on what she's doing all the time is going to take off of my purpose and passion. So I don't want to deal with that. So
Absolutely.
I thought, I'm coming to you. I kind of like bring it up front. Hey, you know what? This is me.
Okay.
These are my standards here. Either you're cool with it or you're not. And I think if she actually is the, you said adoree, that she's
the adorer.
the adorer, she wants to fulfill and satisfy you as a man. So she's gonna
Sure.
say, you know what? Is it worth me losing this guy? No. So I won't do it. So I'll give an example. The chick I'm talking to right now, like she wants to always please me. So if anything comes across her mind, like she may say, you know what? This might make him like upset or mad at me. She won't even do it.
Yeah.
But I didn't tell her not to do these things to be specific. I just said, hey, here's my standards here. And if you want to be with me, this is what it is.
I think it's men's rights to say, these are my expectations or these are my boundaries in the relationship.
Yeah.
And a woman, you should then allow the woman to be free.
Yeah.
And if a woman then says, okay, well, I don't care,
Agreed.
I'm willing to do this even in spite of the consequences, well, then she didn't have a lot of respect or a lot of
At the
attraction
very
for you
beginning,
anyway.
yep.
So you might as well just let her go.
Yeah,
and
give her
exactly.
the-
See,
Yeah.
because again, you give people rope, they'll hang themselves. But once again, it's kind of like if she respects you, she'll follow. She doesn't.
That's a really good point. I actually like giving women a lot of freedom in the beginning.
Me too.
Because they often will tell on themselves. They'll hang themselves with too much rope. And
Mhm.
so if you come off as too controlling or restrictive, you never really know if they're responding to those behaviors or if it's really kind of her personality or her temperament or how she is.
Because they can play a game to fit what you want, but you don't know who that person is until they mess up.
I also want to say one thing too to clarify, because I don't want guys, because a lot of people take things out of context, like, okay, Myron, I'm going to do what you said. Guys, what I do is, you made a fantastic point. You kind of have to let her be free in the beginning so you can get an idea of what she really is
Mhm.
and how she really behaves. Because remember, you're vetting her. Then when, that conversation comes up and she's like, I want to be your girl or something like that, which I always think guys should let girls ask them out, right? Never the other way around. Then you can go ahead and say your stipulations, because if she's asking you, now you can dictate how the relationship is going to go, because she's asking you and you're in the adored position and you're able to dictate your terms. That's when I say, well, it's going to be tough to be it's going to be tough to be with a guy like me. Like, I don't accept this. I don't accept this. I don't accept this. I don't commit to women that do XYZ things. And then she can make a conscious decision to say, okay, am I willing to give up these things for this guy? Well, the answer is going to be yes if she's asking you out 9 out of 10 times. So that's where you can go ahead and then you let these boundaries be known and you're going to have a higher success rate. But in the beginning, guys, you got to vet her for 6 months to a year so you know if she's even worthy of giving her that situation.
That's a good timeline.
I'll
6
go,
months
I'll go
to a
even
year.
deeper. I plant a seed. You know the saying, what would Jesus do? And then people say, you know what? If God wouldn't do that, I wouldn't do it either. So I say, hey, listen, would Walter approve of this? He won't. So I won't do it. I plant a seed.
Yeah,
That's
there
it.
you go. Real quick, we got 10,000 y'all watching on Rumble, man. So yo, on a Saturday when we're not normally on, but this is a special episode because like you guys can see from this conversation, we were going to give you guys a banger. So
Yeah.
guys, from this point forward, we're going to read 20 and up Rumble rants, right? But I will read the ones that came through and I'll keep flying through these because I still have a bunch more questions, man.
This is fun. We'll keep going.
Yeah, okay, awesome. I knew that people were going to enjoy this.